Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here once again. Let me know how the volume is. I'm kind of trying to experiment around with the audio in this room. It's a little challenging, to say the least. As I said before, I'd really like to fucking invent a Dr. Seuss funnel that I can speak into so that it sounds better and so that my voice just goes directly into the iPhone instead of, I don't know, it feels almost like I don't know, it has what do they call it, a reverb? I don't like that. I like, it just, I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm speaking lower than I actually am. And so it kind of makes me want to speak louder. And then when I speak louder, I realize, oh, this is a weird feeling, like my voice is being stepped on by a boot. So I wanted to give a little update about the ghost hunting thing. So, yesterday I actually forgot to mention something. So, when I came back here and I was using that app with the bars, where the bars raise and lower if the activity gets, if the activity gets closer and closer and whatever, more intense. Well, one of the things that I forgot to mention was actually the key clue as to making me think that maybe this was her and that she was here, watching what I was watching or something, because what happened was the day before yesterday, I was watching a YouTube video. I already told you guys another weird coincidence was that this YouTube channel, the host, one of his kids has the same name as the girl who died. So, but one of the weird things was the day before yesterday, I was watching one of their videos where they were talking about ranking candy flavors of different brands. And Skittles came up. And, in my opinion, I think that the orange Skittle is the worst. Or lemon. Orange or lemon. You have lime, grape, and cherry. Those are the best ones. I mean, my favorite is grape, for sure. What I really like to do is take grape and cherry and chew them together at once, or chew other flavors together at once in a flavor combination. But on this challenge video, it turns out that a lot of people hate grape Skittles, and they were all saying that these two guys had old people taste buds because they like the grape Skittle. And it's like, I never realized that, like, people hated the grape Skittle. Like, I love the grape Skittle. Like, it's, I like the lime one, too, back when they had that. But I really love the grape one. I love the shell on the outside and how the flavor, like, interacts with the flavor inside. I think that it works a lot better than any of the other flavors in terms of that, like how it works with the shell. Because the shell is something that nobody really discusses. Like, they just talk about the overall flavor, but when you count the shell flavor in too, there's a different kind of discussion. And so, yeah. But one of the weird things was that, and another thing was that out loud, I started, going, oh, come on. I started, like, getting upset out loud. And so it was a very sort of standout moment. Well, one of the words that came up was grape. And so I thought, ooh, that's got to be a sign. That could be a little hint. Because, they could have said anything. They could have said apple, cherry, lemon, lime, but they just happened to say grape. And so I thought that was interesting. And I'm kind of adjusting because this is really uncomfortable after like 2 seconds. I'm sitting up against on the floor, like kind of like in the Office where Michael's on the floor and he's like talking to everyone. He's like, okay, guys, if you want to have a good future, let's just crawl out of here together. Like that's what it's like down here. It's like I'm trying to convince people to crawl down with me and go join the Michael Scott Paper Company. Which, what one of the weird things is, too? I've seen The Office as a whole like 10 times or more. Like, that's how many times that I've seen that series over and over and over again. And every time that I would rewatch it, I would always have like a different opinion about certain issues. Like, there was this one time where I watched it and I just really got mad at Pam and Jim. Like, I got sick and tired of their bullshit and how they treated Dwight and how they kind of bullied him sometimes. And then there was another time where I just really hated Aaron. And I got really pissed off at Aaron. And so, like, I kept on having, like, different, like, views on the show. Like, it was really cool. Like, that's how much I love that show. But it's so funny because I've never talked about it or reviewed it on this channel. That's definitely a show that I could review. It's just that I don't know, I kind of like to watch newer stuff because then my reaction can be fresher. So, in fact, let's just go over the sketch. So, the grape thing, that was one hint. And then today, I definitely got a definitive message from this person who died. And so, I don't know really what to make of it, but it's pretty interesting. And I just wanted to share it because to have it on record. So, the schedule. So today I'm going to be talking about the top 10 worst moments of 2022. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about the top 10 best moments of 2022. And then I'm going to do American Horror Story Season 5 review Part 2. But I think that I'm going to do it a little differently. I think that I'm going to actually just say how I would change the story around. Because I'm already going to discuss certain story points on the characters ranking video. But I'd really like to just, tell you guys, like, if I was the writer, this is what I would have done instead. Or this is something they could have done here, because I really like to set the record straight on that, because I know that when a lot of people hear you just say like, oh, that was trash, the next question should always be, well, what do you think should happen then? Like, what do you think would have been better? And, I started to come up with some stuff, and I thought, oh, this would have been better, this would have been better. I really think that season 5 was like a sad wasted potential, and it was also like the mainstream breaking point of the show. Like, the show up to that point, they had their following, they were gaining momentum, but as soon as they just came all over the camera with season 5, that's essentially what they did. They basically just ruined the show. Because after that, it's like, I don't know, like, it just to me, I really feel like, there had to have been something in season 5 that happened that changed the show. Because a lot of people, they say seasons 1 through 4 are really good and the rest of them are trash for the most part. Like, it doesn't really seem like the later seasons are very popular. And it's not just because like, oh, it's going on for too long, overstaying their welcome. No, it has to be something to do with like creativity. And I really think it's just another example of like, maybe the writers just need more help, because it feels almost like they struggle to be confident with their ideas. Because I mean, if I were to write a season of American Horror Story, I would know every single little detail. Like, I would plan everything to the most like anal extent possible, to where like people would be discussing it for years and years and years, the intricacies. And it feels to me like seasons 1 through 4, for all the flaws that they had, it did feel like the writers put a lot of attention to detail, and they put a lot of effort into coming up with meaningful stories and stuff like that. But then in season 5, it's just, oh, look, here's Lady Gaga. She has sex all the time. And then here's some serial killers, because I have like a weird fan club obsession with serial killers. Like, I mean, that really reminded me of that, of like thinking about like, my brother was in the Goosebumps Club as a kid, and they would have like meetings at Barnes and Noble or something. And it just makes me think like, Ryan Murphy must have some sort of a fantasy where he wants to join like the serial killer club, and he goes into like a back room of Barnes and Noble, and there's like a glory hole room, and then there's like a fan club meeting room, and he goes in the fan club meeting room, and he sits down, and the serial killers are there, and they're like, okay, time to start the meeting. So, who have you killed lately? Well, I haven't killed anyone because I'm dead. And so then you get like just all these fucking bizarro stories, and Ryan Murphy's just sitting there with like a boner and a pad of paper and a pen, and he's just like trying to write all these notes down for future fucking season ideas. That's what it feels like. So, wow, that went in a weird direction. Another thing that happened with the ghost hunting is that today we went to the house, and I actually found a sled today. Like a sled to go sledding at Christmas time. I found it was like a kid's sled, and it was all rusted, it was all metal, and I pulled that out myself with one arm, and I set that down. I didn't take it home, obviously, but I thought that was kind of interesting. And then I also got a bottle of turpentine. It has actually the logo, the writing of the company, everything. And there's still turpentine in the glass bottle. And I'm getting this stuff out of that hole, of course. You know, the dungeon hole. And then I went to the front of the house, and the most bizarro thing happened. So I saw on my phone, on the Really Good app, where I think it's one of the better spirit apps, where you put your finger down and then it gives you messages, supposedly. Well, it got really creepy because it said malevolent spirit detected, close app and try again later. And, you know, it was like, ooh, this is kind of weird. Like, you know, but it's accurate. Like, that should be it. So it was like, you know, oh, this is just confirming once again. And I was standing like right in front of the front gate when I did that. So then I got in the car, and another weird thing happened where I saw a black cat running around. And it was just a reminder that, you know, there's going to be a lot more of these abandoned pets. Just like I said, how more people are going to die. More people are going to have these accidents, car crashes, all kinds of accidents, and they're all going to die. Well, also, there's going to be more abandoned pets and stuff like that. So that was sad because I would have really liked to have taken it. You know, I thought, you know, ooh, I'd love to have a black cat. You know, I don't have any weirdo superstition. And then we were on the way home, and I saw a black dog in a car. So first I saw a black cat, and then I saw a black dog. And it was all black, like it had black eyes. It was all black. And then we got home, and I saw a black person. No, I'm just kidding. But I thought that was weird, seeing those two animals, you know, kind of like around the same time. So after I do that on Christmas Eve, on Christmas Day, I will be doing a very special commentary. So if you guys watched my 24th birthday celebration video, you know how I had a commentary plan, and, you know, it was going to be very unpleasant probably, but funny and fun. But that was ruined because of the scamming person. And either she sent the wrong package to the wrong person, or she did it on purpose because she's a scammer. And either way, I'm pissed off. And so, you know, I did message the website, and I'm trying to, you know, I'm going to see if I can get my money back, because that was a scam for sure. The only thing that I'm worried about is they'll say, well, we'd like a picture, and then I won't be able to send them a picture because we already threw that garbage away. So that's the only unfortunate part. So then I got back home, and I got on another app where you hear the voices, and I told you guys that app, it seems like that's the funny one, you know, where it said President Putin at one point for no reason. Well, I was sitting in my room, and I pointed the camera at me, and it said, hey, and then they said, he's a witch. And I thought, oh shit, because that was another confirmation of that medium. So I thought that was really interesting. And then I heard again, witch, or he's a witch. And so it was really weird. But then the icing on the cake And God, this is so uncomfortable. Ugh! And now my ass hurts. It feels like a... It doesn't feel very good. God, this is so uncomfortable. But the sound, for some reason, feels better for me. It feels more comfortable. I don't know. And my pillow's right next to me, but I don't know. And now the thing's wobbling. I don't want something to drop on me, and then on camera I pass out and die. None of this makes any sense to you guys. So the last thing was I saw a couple of words. I saw aggravate, do not, everybody, hospital, and then I saw the name of the person who died. And I also saw ward, like hospital ward. And so what I think the message is saying is, maybe this person's spirit is hanging out at the hospital ward, if possible, because it says nothing about me going there. So I thought that was pretty strange. So that was something that I saw that, definitely, because like that name, I don't know if it's a common name. Like, I mean, it is a pretty, like, I've heard the name a lot, because, well, I don't know, a lot, like, it's debatable. Like, I think some people would think it's common, and other people would say, no, I haven't really heard that name that many times. But, like Harry Potter's mom had the same name. So, that was very odd that name was picked out, and that all those other things, because, those other people are still in the hospital. So, there hasn't been any updates on them. But I thought that was interesting. I'm trying to sort of really, like, communicate, because I think that in this case it's important, and it just seems like it's really hard to communicate with spirits in a safe way. Like, it feels like something that you should be able to do, like anybody, but it feels like something that's really, like, risky and complicated. So I'm gonna get these fucking worst moments done before I start, like, just dying of pain. Because, like, okay, I'll explain what it is. Like, I'm sitting on the floor against my old bedroom's dresser. And you guys remember I did say originally I was gonna get rid of it, because we were, like, being forced to get rid of everything, almost. Well, I decided to keep it, and I said, fuck that. I'm keeping both dressers, because I need all the stuff from my brother's room. I need it basically only to replicate that set so that I can shoot the rest of the scenes. If I didn't need that, then I would just probably get rid of some of the stuff, like, there's this little TV stand thing, so I have both dressers, and it actually looks really cool, though, the way that, like, you have my bed, and then on either side you have a dresser. It has a nice, like, symmetrical look in a way. But I'm sitting against the dresser, and so one of the dresser drawers is, like, pressing into my back. And at the same time, my ass hurts. And at the same time, it feels like the dresser could possibly fall over or make something fall onto my head. And I have my arm resting on a box on the edge, but it's uncomfortable because there's not that much space. So, that feels better. I moved it a little bit, but it's very uncomfortable down here. And I'm holding my phone while it's plugged into a charger. So lots of what do you call it? Parts moving. Yeah. Lots of moving parts to this video. So now finally I'm going to get to the top 10 worst moments. And I just want to power through them. So these are like the worst of the worst. You know, it was pretty easy to come up with like the top 4 worst. 4 or 5. And then it was kind of harder from there, you know, because the other stuff I could take it or leave it a little bit. But the worst stuff was like the top 4. Or like the top 6. And then I also have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dishonorable mentions. So, without further ado, so first off, I used a Facebook dating. And now let's just talk about the apps in general. You know, most of them are terrible. They're unusable. The only app that I really liked, like I would say is like a solid app, is this app called Hater. And it was like kind of an inflammatory app where, of course, it's called Hater, and you would bond over things that you hate or love, and, you know, they had all these topics. I had a couple of bad interactions on there, but overall it was a very good app, and I had found somebody from Russia who was very good from there, although she doesn't respond anymore. And so, but then they deleted that app, and so then there's like nothing that's good. Like, just all of them have their own sets of problems. Like, Tinder is basically like a hookup app for shallow, gross people. And, you know, including somebody who's going to be on this list. And then Facebook dating kind of seemed like more personable. It seemed like more of a, because it was new. And so it seemed like it was a better app. But after this year, I would say, no, I never want to use it again. Because I haven't had, of course, one successful experience from the app. Well, it's not an app, it's just an addition on to your profile. So, I'm going to take a drink, but the first one has to do with the app. Oh yeah, I didn't even finish talking about the schedule. Okay, so so I'm going to do a commentary on Christmas Day where I eat 5 Little Debbie snacks, and I have the whole boxes, and I'm going to be dipping them in sauces. And so I'm going to have ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, ghost pepper ranch, and sweet and sour sauce, and then another one at the end. And I'm going to sort of be spinning the wheel and randomly dipping them in stuff when I don't like something in the Debbie Does Dallas movie. I might be watching 2 or 3 of them, or I might just watch the first one. But that's what I settled on doing since that one got ruined. And I thought it would be a really good idea to do that, like a really fun. I wanted to get 10, but Safi convinced me to get 5. And it was irritating because I was like, I didn't get any white cake. I didn't get any like white icing vanilla icing. It's all fucking chocolate for the most part. So that was a fail. I didn't get any oatmeal cream pies. I didn't get any zebra cakes or stuff like that. And so I thought that was a bit of a fail. So I met this person on the Facebook dating. And she was like a trucker. And I talked to her for like a month. And then all of a sudden, she was gone. And the last thing I said was like, oh, I'm gonna make dinner today. And it's gonna be this, this, and this. And then all of a sudden she disappeared. And the way that I could tell that it was the curse or whatever was going on, supernatural, was that I went over to the deleted conversations, because you can still see like the conversations deleted. And it had the date 12/31/1969 on all of the conversations, including hers. And so I knew that, oh wait, she probably didn't even unmatch me or block me. It was probably some sort of like supernatural glitch, because the same thing happened with the person later on in this list who is also from Facebook dating. The same thing happened with her, where I disappeared off of her conversations, and then I messaged her on Instagram and she said, oh shit, I didn't do that. I don't understand where you went. And she didn't have any reason to lie. She could have just said, oh, you disappeared because I blocked you, so bye-bye, and then she could have blocked me again. So it just shows that, like, that was really sad, and it was irritating because this girl, and she had an interesting name too. Her name was Ariel, like the Little Mermaid. And she said that, like, she wouldn't give me her real profile on Facebook unless we met in real life first. And I thought, okay, that's fine, but I know that this app, I know that it could glitch, and so it was sad that I never got any links outside of that. So that was really irritating. That really pissed me off, especially because I knew that, it wasn't her that did that. And you can't even message Facebook and ask them, like, hey, can you restore this person? Because they'll be like, no, they probably got rid of you. Like, it's weird. It's like, oh shit, now my ass is numb. Why would that be? Oh, that's a weird feeling. I don't like that. Next one is having my roast YouTube channel deleted for no reason. So, basically, if you don't know, I do some roast videos that are private. They're sort of like just presents for my friend. Like he'll pick a person that we both know, and then I'll look at all their social media profiles and laugh at them and sort of make jokes about them. And, it's like a show. And I do it in like a stand-up comedy roast style. And, I treat it as like a professional show. I treat it like, like I'm really, doing something special and important here. And it's really like a fun way for me to practice my improv and my performing skills and all that type of stuff. So, I had a bunch of roasts on there. I think I roasted like 11 people since 2019. The most notable one I can't even talk about because I did some really sneaky things that were just hilarious, and I don't want to blow my cover. let's just say it involves something that you guys would find very hilarious. Like, I'll just say that, like, but this roast YouTube channel, it was just like a private thing between me and him. And then all of a sudden, in May or April, or I think it was May actually, the YouTube channel just gets deleted at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I saw that, like, it happened to a lot of different channels where at 5 o'clock in the morning in May, some day in May, their channels either got deleted or they got strikes for doing something bad, quote unquote. And so I submitted my YouTube channel like over and over and over again. And they said this bullshit about, like, you have multiple violations, severe violations of bullying and all this stuff. And it's like, this is just complete bullshit. Like, they're private videos. There's no bullying involved. In order for something to be bullying, there has to be a victim. There's no victims here at all. You see roast videos on YouTube all the damn time. You see people roasting each other. You see, videos that are 10 times worse than what I did in those videos. Like, the worst thing that I did in the videos was I made fun of, like, illnesses and stuff that people had, which makes it sound pretty bad, but it was just, like, in terms of making it into, like, a skit. And so there was this one where I said, like, this guy's father's deathbed confession was probably this. And then I did this hilarious, like, performance as, like, a disappointed dad because he realized that his son was dating a she-male or something. And it was really funny. And see, it just makes me laugh just thinking about it. And, there was really nothing bad on those videos. So it was very irritating. And you know what I did? All I did was I created a new channel, and then I redid several videos that I already put up on the channel, and then I continued doing videos because nobody's going to stop me from doing, these private videos that, don't hurt anybody. So it's just really funny. It's like, what's the point? Like, why even delete the channel? Because it's not going to stop me from doing it. It's just stupid. And it might have not even been, it might have just been like somebody like false flagging the channel too. Because I commented on this one channel twice, that I didn't like them and I thought they were trash because they were bullying other channels, and they were false flagging their Indiegogo comic campaigns. And so I went on his channel and I said, I just said, you're trash, and, just a couple little, like, mild things, and then all of a sudden, deleted. So it might have been him, because he was a false flagger, and so, it's just unfortunate because it was like, all that hard work gone, erased, can never view it again. I even tried to, like, see on the Wayback Machine. What I should have done was I should have just downloaded all the videos to the Mac. I do have, like, one from years ago, 2019. It was the first roast video I ever did. It was just the first part, and I have a couple of snippets of videos that my friend screen recorded because he thought they were so funny. And, just very unfortunate that YouTube, the way that they treat their creators. So then the next one was, there was this bitch that I knew from high school. And, wait. And so, she's one of them who I kind of modeled the characters for that film idea after. And it's really funny because, like, she's been single since, like, the beginning of high school. So she's been single for, like, just the whole time. To where, like, now she's still single. And it was always, like, a running joke because I would see her on all the different apps, like, over and over and over again. Like Hater, I saw her on there. I saw her on Tinder. I saw her on this. I saw her on that. And, it was just so hilarious because I knew that, like, oh, if I download a new app, I'll see her there as well. And then I would see her profiles, like, change, and, like, she would add, like, other things to them, and it was just so laughable because it was, like, the whole time, she could have just, talked to me and gotten it over with, and instead, she chose to just, pretend like, she has some sort of a standard or something. And so it's really hilarious because I was at Kroger and I was taking a nap, and I was like just sitting there faced out towards, like, the parking lot, and I had the sun blockers down and fully extended, and so you really shouldn't have been able to see into the car even. And all of a sudden, this car comes and pulls into the spot in front of me across from our aisle. And it's hilarious because then I see in this bitch, and, my nickname for her is Hot Cocoa, which don't ask for the reason why because it'll probably take too long. No, it won't, but it's just whatever. So she got out of the car, and as soon as she gets out of the car, she's looking over at me sitting in the car like I'm doing something wrong by being at Kroger. And so then she's making, like, a mean face, and then she went into the store. And it's like, you just can't believe this kind of, like, immature, gross behavior from these people. It's really just mind-boggling. It's just completely mind-boggling. And so then she came back out 10 minutes later, and I'm not kidding, guys, she, like, ran to her car as if, like, she thought she was in some sort of a danger, or she just didn't want to, risk me going, like, hey. And it was so hilarious, too, because she was waddling. She was waddling like the penguin. And so she, and it was just and she had this one little bag. And then I messaged her on Instagram later, and I said, hey, was that you at Kroger? And she saw it. She never responded. And it's just, it's so, like, pathetic. It's just so pathetic, this type of, like, behavior, because you know what it is that she's embarrassed that, over all these years that she's still the way she is. And it's all because of years and years ago when she didn't just take the plunge. And so it's pretty funny. But it was terrible because it's like, what am I not supposed to go to Kroger? What am I not supposed to go to these certain places in public because you're going to be there? And, really, really weird. And when you see somebody like that in front of all these other normal people who don't care, and they don't have any sort of, like, reaction like that, it just makes you realize how, like, abnormal people like her really are, because of, like, how they choose to act is just totally, like, not good. Like there's something mentally wrong with her to be acting like that. And the fact that it's been like 5 years and you're still acting like you're ugh. And so what I actually did a video of myself reenacting how it looked for my friend, because of course she's a big character in the roast video series, as you probably speculate. She's hilarious in a ton of ways. There was this one thing that she did where she posted on Twitter and she said that all men belong in a zoo, especially the ones who live in my hometown. And she's just the worst. And so, but she's really funny, and so I made this little video and I put it over the top of this, or maybe I'll put it at the end. I hope it'll all work, or I'll put it at the beginning. How about that? So, and I need to get through these faster. The next one was casting my film. And so I don't want to go into this too much because, you guys already know after watching that I've Been Cursed video, you know all about the terrible casting stuff that I had to go through with that movie. This movie, had some similarly bad interactions. Although, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I would say. Probably that one was way worse. But probably the one that sticks out here, there was just a lot of, just as usual, like not responding. And then, people saying that they would send me their auditions and then not send me them at all. And what I would do is I would say, like, okay, I'm going to wait around for like a week or a month to be nice because it's the summer. And it would just never get sent. And so there were like a couple of people. It was really surprising because they seemed like really excited about the character in the film. And so it was just irritating and unintelligible why they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, especially after they made that agreement. And so there was this one person, and the other funny thing is that you see these people, they have nothing going on for them. They have no roles that they're doing. They have no sort of like anything. Like there was this one person, and she was like bragging that she was going to be on this Netflix show, a reality show or something, coming up about some sort of like couples or something, and because she's married, but that was it, and I never heard about that again. And so like I've never even heard of that show coming out or even being made. So you just have all these people, they don't do anything, and as I said, it's like the biggest performance that they put on is the performance of being an actor. Like that's their performance, is pretending to be an actor. And so then there was this other person, and just some really disappointing characters in terms of like they really fit the character, and it's sad that their awful personality got in the way of them having the role of a lifetime. So there was this one person who I already talked about on the channel, and I called her the fraud attendant because she never sent an audition, and then I messaged her about it and she blocked me. And so then I went on another account and I saw what she was doing, And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, after being on the acting website for a couple of weeks, all of a sudden she was in school to become a flight attendant. And it was so hilarious and cringeworthy because she changed her YouTube channel. And that was another hilarious thing, was that she had this YouTube channel that she's linking for people to go see her acting. And she had like a video of herself in like the 10th or in like the 5th grade or like the 7th grade, and and she's like doing this puppet show about sex education so that you don't get STDs. And it was so like cringeworthy that she was like rapping and freestyle rapping about STDs and all this cringeworthy stuff. And then she had like one audition video, and it wasn't even for a project, it was just for a shitty college's like theater program or something. Like, it was just so embarrassing because she changed her channel to say flying with her name. And so instead of just her name, it was now flying with her name. And so then she posted like just literally one vlog about the quote unquote day in the life of a flight attendant. And and it was this is how you knew it wasn't going to work out, because the only vlog she posted was of her day off that she got, and she posted like, look at me, and she showed her like feet waving around in the pool, and then she showed herself drinking a Red Bull, and then she showed like note cards because she's studying for a flight attendant test on her day off. It was it was so funny that like it made me think about like Ferris Bueller. Like, what would Ferris Bueller think about this bitch on her day off? You know, this is what she's doing. And it just made me laugh in general that like she legitimately chose terrorism and the possibility of dying in a plane over just reading lines off of a script. It's just it's incomprehensible. And so I nicknamed her the fraud attendant. And so then after that, it was hilarious because she either took the test and failed, or she just didn't take the test and she quit. And so then all of a sudden on her Instagram, she was a model, and she was signed up with an agent, of course, and an agency, you know, so that you know, she can basically just, you know, do nothing and, you know, have all projects rejected. So it was pretty hilarious that like she just switched and switched and switched. And I don't know what happened to her now, because as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, this person is clearly mentally unstable, because it's like, like, come on, like, it's just, to switch like that radically over that short period of time, it's kind of sickening, because, you know, if I were to have done something like that, then they probably would have reported me and said I was a scammer or something. But she still has a profile on the website, so, you know, as I said, she's a fraud. You know, and that's another thing too, is that I saw that a lot of these actors are, you know, they're frauds. They're complete frauds. And, you know, they say that they act, and they say that they're interested in acting. They say, oh, it's just, I can't live without it. It's all that I want to do. And then they don't even do it. It's just like, you know, you don't even act. You just pretend that you act. And then there was another person, this fucking idiot from Indiana. And by the way, the person from later on in the list, she's from Indiana too. So I guess the message should be... Oh yeah, and the trucker was as well. Oh no. No wait, no. Wasn't she from Kentucky? I can't remember. So I guess the takeaway is don't interact with people from Indiana. Sorry, but I don't know. Oh god, it's numb. It's numb again. And I'm not even in the top 10 yet. Okay, so there's this idiot from Indiana. And I already talked about this before. So, if you want to just skip ahead past the casting, just skip ahead. I don't mind. Whatever topic you want to listen to, that's fine. But it was really funny because he pretended like he couldn't read the dialogue on the script. So he wanted to audition for a character, and I sent him the audition script, and literally all it was a singular monologue, and that's all it was. And already it was kind of weird because he said that he didn't receive it in his email, and so he forced me to send it to him over the mail. And so then I thought, oh God, this is creepy. Is he just tricking me so he can get my address? I was kind of wondering that, but then no, he really is a fucking retard. And so he read the audition script. He said, I just can't figure out where the dialogue is. And he talked about like how, he was this great actor and he was just so good, and but he had to settle down and take care of the daughter that he didn't want to have, and she was an accident, and so he couldn't pursue his dreams. And it was so hilarious, like this kind of like reality show sob story, followed by this bullshit where he's talking about how he can't like read the dialogue. Like I don't even know. And then he repeated it again. He said that like he went on this acting webinar and they kicked him out because they thought he was so fucking retarded. And so it's like, yeah, he's pretty bad. He's pretty low IQ, to say the least. And then at the end, he was like, I showed the script to 3 friends. None of them could find any dialogue either. I just thought this has got to be... Like, I swear, like, Indiana has got to have, like, the stupidest fucking people on the planet. Like, I really hope that, I find somebody that is good from that state, but like so far, you guys aren't you guys aren't sending me your best. You're not you're not representing very well in Indiana. Okay, you're not. I'm not impressed because, a lot of thousands and thousands of actors have read this script from other states. They can read the dialogue just fine. You got this fucking idiot from Indiana, and he said it's like a book. He said that the script is like a book. I mean, just some of the stupidest people are actors. Like, just some of the stupidest people. And then there was this one, and see, I had to wait to talk about this one, because she had this whole excuse about how she has a bodybuilding competition in November. And it was really funny because I knew, that number one, that's not an excuse. Number two, because I said that I would wait to shoot the film, or I would shoot it, way beforehand. So, it was just an excuse, as usual with these people. And it was hilarious because she didn't even get in 10th place. So, it's the same old thing, that I see, is that you have these fucking idiots and they don't take the opportunity that's given to them. And it makes me think about, about when I watched that Stage Door movie, and I thought about how, I wish I could give all those people in that movie a chance, because they all seem like they deserve a chance. But then you think about it, and it's like, no, they probably all don't deserve a chance at all. Just thinking about the mental retardation that you'd have to say that you can't read dialogue off of a script. It's really disappointing, frankly. So, there were a lot of other things that happened too, I guess. I didn't really think there was a lot of back and forth negative things, but it was just pettiness of people. Another thing that I saw too was these actors are supposed to be professionals, and then what they do is they'll see something they don't like that I post on Instagram, and then they'll unfollow me, and then they'll block me. And it's this is how sensitive these idiots have gotten nowadays, is that that they can't even handle what you post on the internet. If you post something that they don't agree with, they don't want to work with you in a film. And it makes me think about too, there's probably a lot of people who would kill to have this opportunity that I've given these people. And you have these people who waste that opportunity over and over and over and over and over again. And it's always the same old shit. I'll send it to you next week. I'll send it to you next week. Or just silence. So, next up is doing the Queen of Hearts commentary with Six Safi. So, maybe I should split this up into 2 parts. I don't know. It's probably just really not being comfortable with it still feels like I'd like to have more privacy to shoot this particular video, and then tomorrow's video too, probably. We did a commentary for Queen of Hearts, a Twin Peaks fan film, and we ate Frisch's Big Boy breakfast, since they have breakfast all day. Which is bullshit, because they don't have pancakes after a certain time of day now. So that's false advertising now. Because, pancakes are breakfast. And, that pisses me off. But the food was okay. It was pretty good, I guess. The fucking breakfast food. I had a breakfast sandwich, and maybe a side or 2, and I had a cherry pie, of course, and coffee. And Safi had a big breakfast with a bunch of different components. But the problem was that she had food poisoning from something else before, so she was literally getting up, and keep in mind, this film put together is 4 hours. So she was getting up over and over and over again to go to the bathroom because she was sick. And it was really irritating because it didn't make for a good commentary also. she wasn't even talking. And keep in mind, this is a film that I had already reviewed. And so all the stuff that I was doing on the commentary, for the most part, it was just showing off to, like, put on a performance for comedy. It really wasn't like a review. It was just like me having fun, goofing off. And the whole point of it was I wanted to see Safi's reaction. So that was kind of irritating. And then having to rush filming the movie because we were moving too was irritating. And, I know that, people will point out when they watch the movie eventually, flaws of, like, certain scenes that I shot. Like, there's one, and I told you guys that I shot the audio after shooting the video because I had a problem with, I bought a microphone that it is not compatible with this iPhone number. And so I didn't have time to get another new microphone. So I just had to, compromise. And I came up with the idea of just shooting the audio afterwards. Well, there was this one scene that I fully edited so that I could upload it as a private video and get it off of my phone for storage space purposes. And the audio for this whole sequence is not in sync. And I really noticed it recently, re-looking at this video, and it just kind of felt like, ugh. It felt like, this is such like an unnecessary problem, and it's such a shitty problem because the music is there, and I forgot to save the music separately, so I would have to redo the music for that sequence. So it just felt like I was really rushing through things just to get out of there. But the irony, and I was trying to rush too with casting, and with casting like friends to play the side characters. That's another thing that I didn't talk about, was that I reached out to a bunch of people and none of them ever responded about, playing a role for like just a little side character. So, I couldn't even fall back on that. With the typical, just cast your friends excuse. I couldn't even fall back on that to help shoot as many scenes as possible. But the irritating thing is that, now it's been basically 2 full months and they never tore down the house. So that's 2 whole months that I could have still been going there to shoot the film and going there to shoot the scenes. And that I could have, took my time in casting, got the right people to play the characters, but instead I felt like I had to rush. So that was very irritating. I guarantee that, just, and that's another thing too, is that a lot of these, problems, it's good to think of it as like, what would Stanley Kubrick think? What would a great classic director like Hitchcock think? And I think that they would both say, what, this is a bunch of bullshit. I'm not going to rush at all. I'm just not even going to shoot anything. Probably, I think Stanley Kubrick would have thrown like a hissy fit, and he would have just not shot anything, and, just waited to come up with a different plan after he left. But I think maybe Hitchcock would have hustled, because before Hitchcock started making his own movies, he worked on silent films as like all the different parts of the crew. He performed those jobs. So, I think that he would have taken advantage of the time that he had and done what he could and then come up with another plan later. And so that's what I did. I followed after what I think what Hitchcock would have done. But still, it just felt very unsatisfying. There were a couple of sequences that worked out better than I expected, though. So, it wasn't a total waste of time. But there were some sequences where I almost feel like I wish I could reshoot them. So, the last dishonorable mention, it's kind of like a weird open-ended one, so I figured out that, you know what? Sorry about that. I figured out that, maybe another reason for getting that piece of brick could be that she wanted to communicate with me. And so she thought that if I got the brick that she would be able to do that. But then that didn't work, and that led to a lot of other problems. And so then, there was this one guy, and he claims to be a psychic and a medium, and he was in this group for psychics and mediums, which I left the group because I just saw all these scammers. And he said that she did want to connect and contact, but she said that my spirit was too weak from being in that house, and so I couldn't contact with her because it would hurt my spirit or something. And so he was trying to give me some sort of like a exercise to do, like a ritual type of thing, where I would put like different colored candles down, and I would picture walking in and out of like a purple tube or something. But I didn't do that because I didn't want to do anything until I talked to that other medium. And I expected maybe that other medium will talk to her as well. But the other medium didn't even attempt to do that. She doesn't have any option where you can pay her to contact certain people. So, I think that was another failed attempt. And so, next up, I tried a couple of different things. But the most embarrassing thing, though, which I think made it easily one of the worst moments, is I was watching X-Files, and, they talked about how, you could possibly connect to the spiritual realm using magic mushrooms. And I started looking around is there any way that I could do something like that? Even though it might not work, I don't know, maybe it will. And so then I looked up and I found out that apparently if you eat enough raw cacao or cocoa, whatever, that you could possibly hallucinate or have something like that happen. And but I did the wrong thing, and I got a pack of 8 Hershey chocolate bars. 6. I got 2 packs of 6, and I ate 6 whole candy bars, and I hated it. It made me never want to eat a Hershey chocolate again, except if it was like a Kiss or something, and it didn't do anything, and instead it just made me feel sick, and all these other things too. And so it really felt like a mistake, and it felt like, but just, it was another failed attempt. And so, it really feels like she definitely does want to communicate, but it's just, trying to figure out a way is difficult, to say the least. So that was my most recent attempt, and it was a terrible mistake to do that. And I'll never do something like that again. So now we're finally in the top 10. Number 10 was the failed Jones Awards video filming with drunk stuff. So I did tell this story in full in a certain video. I can't remember which one. I'll just tell like kind of a short version. So the Jones Awards are kind of like my take on the Oscars. And I give out my own awards that, they can kind of seem like awards that, they'd never give out at like a professional awards ceremony. That's why they're good, is because, they're honest awards. Like, what celebrity would you most like to punch in the face? Well, last year, it was fucking Will Smith. and actually, I changed it because at first I had Chris Rock on the list because I was so sick of him, and like he did that Fargo and that Spiral movie, and I was so sick of him like trying to pretend to be serious because he would never really fully commit, and he did it in like a really cringeworthy, over-the-top acting way. And so I wanted to punch him in the face because he has just like this goofy looking face. But then that thing happened and I changed it because I was like, oh, like I don't want to punch him anymore. He doesn't deserve it. I want to give him a hug or something. But anyways, I got 2 large Truly Fruit Punch cans. I got 1 medium beer can of a Voodoo Ranger, and I got a 6-pack of I can't remember what Hefeweizen or something, or Shandy, something Shandy, lemon Shandy, I don't know. It's like a gross drink. It tastes like popcorn jelly beans. So I started drinking, and I started just like, drinking too much. I drank both full, huge Truly Fruit Punch cans, and it was so gross because it just tasted like coconut. And it was supposed to be fruit punch, but it just tasted like coconut. And, it was just, all of it just tasted so gross. And I was purposefully getting as bad as possible so that I could be, more entertaining on the video. And then I went upstairs to shoot the video, and I had like a script to read off the awards. It was going on for a long time. It was like 2 hours long already. And then I was drinking the Shandy, and I needed to go to the bathroom, and I was like halfway through the bottle. And so then I just went inside the Shandy lemon bottle, and then I started drinking the bottle because I thought, oh, this will be a funny bit in the video. And that was a big mistake. I still like it. See, it just makes me want to throw up just thinking about it. And so then, because I was so drunk, I just literally didn't care. And then I started throwing up. And I was throwing up all over the script, all over the floor, and then I stood up and I was throwing up, and puke, just watery liquid puke was just gushing out of my mouth in like a trail as I ran out of the room. And it was a horrible, like, just I can still remember it, and it was just awful. And I deleted the video, and it was not worth the experience. And so then the next day I had a hangover the whole day, to where like my eyes hurt, and it was just like the worst hangover ever. And it was just terrible. It was a terrible experience. And it was just a complete mistake to do that. And so then I shot the video normally, and it turned out just fine. So number 9 is the Tom Cruise 300 subscriber commentary fail with people across the street. So for 300 subscribers, I really wanted to watch some movies we never watch, which is stuff with Tom Cruise, because neither of us really like Tom Cruise. But I thought with his 60th birthday coming up, it would actually be a great idea to celebrate his birthday. Is doing like a marathon of 6 movies of his. And I picked out the movies because I spun a wheel, and so you had Safi's choices, my choices, and then random ones. And my choices won, coincidentally. You know, I swear I did not pick them. And I didn't even want to pick my list either, because I wanted to watch the new ones that I hadn't seen on the random list. And so it was terrible already because, you know, we watched the first Top Gun again, and I hate that movie with a passion. You know, I despised every moment of it. It was so awful. I hated every second of it. And then after that, and at the same time, we were eating this all-berry Cap'n Crunch for breakfast, because we were eating like some Tom Cruise themed foods or something. And it was just really odd, you know, the choices that I made for that video. It was really, really bad. Like, I admit, like, it was a terrible choice to do that for 300 subscribers. And then what I did too was I said the Scientologist prayer, and it was such a mistake because I could feel a negative, like, I told you guys, like, I felt a really bad energy after saying that prayer for a while. And it just made me, like, never want to watch a Tom Cruise movie again. Because, you know, where did that come from? You know, like, I don't know, like, it was so bad. It was, like, icky. It was icky and just, ugh. So, then we watched, and so Top Gun was a terrible experience once again. But then we started getting sick. Both of us started getting sick. And then we watched another movie. I can't remember what it was. And then the second movie took 3 or 4 whole hours. It was Magnolia. And I just hated it with a passion because I was like, you know, this is not the movie I remember watching last year. So it was a totally different experience. And at the same time, it was raining. And the weird part was that there were these 2 cars sitting across the street, parked facing towards our house. And what I didn't realize at the time was that those were the pieces of shit developers. And so basically, you know, they were like ruining our 300 subscriber celebration video. Like, in hindsight, that might be one of the worst things ever for the channel, because that should have been a great celebratory day, but instead it was a terrible disaster. And you know, especially knowing who those people were, you know, what they were doing, just sickening. And, you know, if I had known that now, I would have gone out there and flicked them off and threw things at them until they called the police. But that's a different story. And so we were both feeling really sick. And so we just said, I said, you know what? You know, fuck the commentary, because this Magnolia movie, I don't even want to say anything about it anymore because it's just so bad. So let's just watch it, not commentate, and then later on we can go out and get dinner if we're feeling good enough to eat like a normal dinner. And then we will come back and watch one more movie and commentate maybe. And so that's what we did. And we got Red Lobster, which was disgusting. And we watched Austin Powers Goldmember, which was at least funny. But it was such a terrible experience. Terrible subscriber video. Honestly, looking back, I don't know what would have been good to do for 300 subscribers. Like, I really like to make these like videos like special, so you know, it's hard to think what would have been like more special than that. You know, because Safi said too, oh yeah, it was another thing is that, you know, we never went to the fair. You know, we never went to the carnival. We never went to the Lebanese festival. We never went to the Greek festival. And I wanted those three events to be like three separate commentary videos where we would once again eat fair food, and then, you know, Lebanese food, Greek food, and then we'd watch a movie in theme with those. And so, you know, that was another reason why I was really like trying to make that subscriber video special, was to make up for not doing those other things. But I promise you guys that I will never not do those things again. There's never, in fact, I think that the motto going forward is that there's never going to be any excuses again for anything. Because there shouldn't be any excuses for anything. Like, just as simple as, you know, not going to a festival to pick up food and then take it. You know, there shouldn't be any reason not to do that. So, number 8 is casting Amy, making the decision of who to cast for Amy while I was being psychic attacked for 2 or 3 whole days. So first off, what a psychic attack is it's when a spirit or an entity hurts you in a way where you have unexplained pains, you have unexplained disease. And so when I told you guys about buying that brick, and then later on the day having stabbing pains in my stomach and unexplained food poisoning, well, for this, all of a sudden, like in the middle of the night, like I just had this severe pain in my head, and it was like this severe headache, and it continued on throughout the whole day, the next day, and it was so awful. And it was like, this is not a headache, this is something weird. And I've never had it happen again the rest of the year. So, it was just out of nowhere. And it was a psychic attack. Because what happened was, it wasn't the whole night. So here's the story of what happened. So I set a deadline to cast this character, and I was like, okay, who should I cast? I had 3 choices who I was really excited about. One of them, she was this person from New York, and she was really, really good because we had great chemistry. And it was the only time so far where I've ever seen chemistry on screen. Like visible, like chemistry. She was perfect. I wanted to cast her, but then, she turned out to be what I like to call the big disappointment because of her behavior and her, like, deceitful, weird things that she did that I don't even want to get into that. And then there was this other woman who, she was really good, but I felt like she fit being the waitress more because she had this way of talking where she, had this, like, it was too happy-go-lucky, and it was like, I couldn't really see much depth or dimension of this person being like a fully rounded, dynamic being who would, have the experiences that Amy had, the character. So I still cast her as the waitress. And then the last person was the one who I went with, and she was really good. But I didn't see any audition yet. And so I was still waiting like a week after that. And so, but the thing was that I had a feeling that she was the one for the role. Just because, I had a feeling. And, I thought, I had been talking to her since February. Like right after I finished the script, she was similar to those choices for I've Been Bitten where, the first choices that I pick, they're always the best ones. And she was the first choice, basically. And so what happened was I was going to pick the waitress girl. I was going to say, you know what, I'm going to play it safe. This person is close to me. She's only like an hour away or less. The other 2 are in different states. So I'm going to pick her. And all of a sudden, I get a pain in my head. And so then I was going to pick the other one. And then I found out something about her. And so finally, I just picked the last one. And I went back to sleep. I woke up and still this pain. So that was a whole weird experience. I don't know what that was. I don't know why that happened. Now, after all this time, I think that it was to sabotage me. I think that it was to, like, try to trick me into thinking that, like, maybe something was going to happen, and then it was like a sabotage or something. Because, if I had cast the waitress girl, then, all of her scenes would have been shot as Amy. And I would have been a lot happier with the film. So number 7 was Moving on Halloween. And so this one was terrible because, and let's see. I'm gonna split this video in two. So sorry about that, guys. Like, this will be the last one that I talk about for today. I know that I keep splitting things in two. I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just that I'm trying to give these topics attention that they deserve, rather than just like rush through them. So Halloween was a complete bust. Or in fact, I'm just going to tease Halloween, and then I'll talk about the rest of it tomorrow. So Halloween was a complete bust, but it started off on the wrong foot because the night before I didn't get much sleep because Bernie the cat was sleeping with me, and he was making it to where I could not sleep. I was too uncomfortable, and he would not move. And so finally he left, but it was just too late. And then the next night, I was up late into the night packing, and I told you guys that was when things got scary because the house was mad that I was leaving. And so basically, and it was really funny too because I had this thing with the laptop where I did the commentaries on before, and it was already broken. Like it has like, it's basically like almost completely broken. Like there's complete whole like tears in the laptop on the back of it. Well, it like fell over multiple times, and it's so funny because like it still works, it's still perfect, and it's so funny like how much abuse it's taken. Like it fell over off the bookshelf, it just kept falling over, having things thrown on it. It was so funny that it's still in working condition. But the thing that happened, and keep in mind this was the ritual room too, so it was the room where I did the bad ritual that shouldn't have been done. Well, I put my hand on the bookshelf and I pressed so hard that I fell over, and my knee like cut into the floor, the wood of the floor. So it sliced across through my knee, and there's like a huge gash in my knee. And so on the whole day of that day, I had that wound on my knee. And that, already started it off on the wrong foot. And it set like a mood. It was like a mood setter in like a negative type of way. So that's my teaser for Halloween, aka number 7. This is where we're really starting to get into deep territory. But anyways, let me know what you thought so far, and see you tomorrow for part 2, as well as the top 10 best moments video. Bye everybody, see you soon.